And if you accumulate in the over 30 countries and the companies we've invested, which report to us not only the financial returns, which we report to the investors, but the social returns, we're very proud to be touching close to 100 million people over the last 10 years.
Well, Florian, thank you very much for joining Dukascopy TV today. It's a pleasure to have you in our studio. How are you to start with?
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm glad to share a little bit about what we do.
You're excited to be here. I'm very excited to have you here because this is a fascinating topic, and I'm really excited for you to unpack it for everyone. So you're an impact, Bamboo is an impact investor, and you've impacted nearly 100 million people in emerging markets in the last 10 years. Just let's start. Can you just explain how you have achieved all of this?
Yes, so we are so-called impact investor. So we deploy capital, we raise it in emerging markets and deploy it in the emerging markets, benefiting the low-income population. And it's called impact or social impact or impact investor. It is because we deploy the capital in companies, commercial companies, benefiting the low-income population and measuring the financial returns and the social returns in parallel. And the social returns we publish every year. And if you accumulate in the over 30 countries and the companies we've invested, which report to us not only the financial returns, which we report to the investors, but the social returns, we're very proud to be touching close to 100 million people over the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. So your focus is exclusively on commercial companies benefiting the low-income population. How can you also deliver financial returns for your investors, though?
Yeah, I think the idea of impact investing is only if you invest like you would invest in our markets. If you invested there, you can create infrastructure, and goods, access to money, financial means, and goods and services, which creates wealth. So we use the same rigorous, structure. So our funds sit in Europe, in Luxembourg, we're fully regulated, and the capital is deployed in those countries, either in companies which sit there or companies which exclusively work with that population. And the intention is you can, if you move the needle by investing in companies which are profitable and you can help them to scale, then you have, of course, a social benefit because we have a clear scope of what does this do for the population. But specifically then, we measure the financial returns because we're not asking philanthropy. We're asking investors to invest their money to achieve financial returns. Sometimes more difficult because you're in geographies and in countries which are less common to us. Yeah. But at the end, it works the same way.
How much is this sector growing? Because there's obviously massive scope for it and huge amounts of population that are coming into this. How much is it growing, and are you quite excited about what's coming next?
Yes, so the growth is huge. Where we initially impact investing was more a niche market. People were trying to and focusing more on financial inclusion, which means I want to bank unbanked people. I want to provide credit, small credits to population which didn't have the access before. But now that is going into other sectors, and you're seeing more and more capital coming in. And where maybe impact investing in the past was more an asset style, it's becoming an asset class. Because you have now major funds and major corporations focusing on impact investing in a large scale. So it's a huge growth. It was a good growth in the past, but the next, let's say, 10 to 15 years look very exciting.
So dealing with investments in these frontier markets must be difficult from a sort of legal and compliance point of view. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is, let's say, first questions we get, how can you invest in an African sub-Saharan country or an Asian or Latin American country where, you have geopolitical problems, you have, compliance issues. Yeah. Again, we are a regulated fund. We can only do clearly what is absolutely clean. And at the end, as we were focusing more on commercial, we're not interacting with the governments, it's not based on grants, we're not based on some government projects. It's really a pure focus on a commercial side. And the commercial side means the population has two problems in the past, is access and affordability. Yeah. And when we resolve the access and the affordability so that they can pay for it, it's not that they don't want to pay or they cannot pay, but if the price point is a level where it's affordable for the people and their access, you don't have to deal with any, other problems maybe than exchange rates.
Let's finish off talking a little bit about some of the technological advancements in this area, which are just completely fascinating. This technology is able to leapfrog completely poverty. How can this technology achieve this, and what are the technology that we're seeing? How is it doing this already?
Yes, probably it's a historical moment right now, where in the past you had maybe half of the world's population living a certain wealth, and the other half was deprived from it. They didn't have access. Technology has become very cheap and easy to access. Technology in our world, in the emerging market, might be a threat because it cuts food chains, it disrupts. In these areas, you just sleep. One of the examples is in the last 10 years is cell phone. There was a cell phone tsunami in Africa and Asia and Latin America, where you have 90% of the people now with cell phones because it provides communication at a very cheap price point. On that comes mobile money. So you don't have to ship cash, the interactions are mobile. So the next wave we're seeing is that technology in emerging markets leapfrogs poverty, energy, and healthcare. And it's very exciting to see that companies we've invested in off-grid solar, you electrify a home like would have your internet box at our. There the box is solar powered, is connected, provides light to charge your phone, light also to live, clean one, but also then the journey starts because people have access. This is financed, so they create a credit history. They can add TVs, appliances, internet, Wi-Fi, so that can really participate. And then many of them are farmers. So the small scale farmers suddenly can sell their product online at a better price, cutting some intermediaries. So this is changing the entire economy in emerging markets. And like, for example, in Asia, foreseen in 2030, there will be 3 billion middle-class people. That's 10 times the US, 5 times Europe. That means this middle class is, thanks to technology, participating in the real economy. And we happen to be there. So through that, we can scale impact in more lives, but also scale or have much more attractive financial returns. It's a very exciting time.
It's very exciting. It's absolutely fascinating. Florian, I can't thank you enough for speaking with us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure, Jack.
And thank you for watching. If you'd like to find out more information, please head over to dukascopy.tv.